Luxe and Lens. For the single moms choosing growth over guilt, power over pain, and purpose over pressure. Raw conversations, real stories, no filters. Let's begin. Hello, lovely Luxe and Lenses. Welcome back to our podcast. Thank you for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. We are diving into a very exciting series now, which is self-care without guilt, learning to love ourselves, learning to take time into ourselves, learning to invest ourselves, even if it is in the smallest way. So welcome, and thank you for joining Courtney and myself. And I think this is going to be a wonderful series. We've got lots in store for you, along with little ideas, out the box ideas that's definitely surpass the go and take a bubble bath vibe, but it does. It's definitely, we've got some makeup tips that'll make us feeling glowy, even though we're having a really thunderstorm day inside. At least our skin's all glorious, and that's definitely Courtney's area of expertise. So Courts, I'm excited for this one. I really am. I think this is going to be, this is like a beautiful follow on from all the depth that we put in the last series with the masculine and feminine. And I think this is just the most unbelievable follow on to help us to regain our feminine.
Absolutely. And, Ash, I think so many women feel guilty about self-care and self-love, and not enough mothers teach their children, or especially their daughters, but guys as well. Everybody needs to practice self-love and self-care. But not enough parents teach their kids the importance of it and how to actually do it. We're so focused on showing love and care to others that we often neglect ourselves. And no one tells us, actually, you need to start with yourself to be able to fully engage and love and care for somebody else. So I think this is a lovely topic to just follow through from the deep introspection that we did in the last series, where we focused so much on, the really deep core issues of the masculine and feminine. And now it's about tapping into that truest version of ourselves and showing that person the love and grace and self-care and attention that we deserve.
And I think the first point that we need to kind of raise is that self-care isn't what, and I'll get into this because it's hysterical, but self-care isn't the traditional vibe that everybody goes for. In my opinion, it is any time that we actually get to invest in ourselves, whether that be stepping out of the door for 5 minutes so we don't end up strangling a child, whether it be getting on the treadmill so that we can get rid of all our pent-up anger and, whatever is going on inside. If we can do that, that to me is, so to me, it is any time we actually get to invest. If, for example, and again, in my opinion, putting earphones in while we vacuum and we can listen to our own music, that to me is self-care. It is anything, it just shifts our mood. It makes us feel a little bit more in tune with who we are. I figure that's my opinion. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, I think, self-care, self-love is very much about making yourself feel good, making yourself feel seen and accepted and safe. That's my understanding of self-care and self-love, is that this is how you show yourself that you're important, that you're looked after, that you're valued, even if it's yourself to yourself. And I think that's something that's so underestimated, is that we have to be happy with ourselves. We have to like who we are. We have to be comfortable in the space that we're at. And you and I both know, like, life throws some curveballs where you're like, WTF on a steroid, what just happened? And you have to, through those storms of life, still be able to find yourself in it and say, you're still worthy and you're still freaking awesome. And yes, we're in a tornado, but we are going to come out, and I'm going to hold you and I'm going to love you through the storm that we are going through. Me, myself, and I are going through.
Give you a cuddle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we can self-reject so quickly and so easily and turn on ourselves. And I think the important thing through life is to stand by yourself and stand, strong in your convictions. Like, know what you believe in, know what you stand for, and stand by yourself. No one has to give you validation or give you the thumbs up. That is for you, because you're the only one that lives your life. So self-care, self-acceptance, self-love is crucial in reaching that happy place in your life, regardless of the storms that you're going through.
Something that I've actually noticed, and I've seen this firsthand, is that when a person is, when they are convicted about who they, well, that sounds terrible, when they're convicted about who they are, but when they know who they are,
yes.
you often find that in that situation, because you are so, you're happy in your own skin, and that
Yes.
attracts people to you because they want what you've got. So whatever it is that you're selling, that's what they want, because they want that happy pill, and they want, because they can smell it, they can see it. There is definitely a different like vibration that we work within when we are happy with who we are, when we are authentic to who we are. And
exactly,
yeah.
But so, do you know what the thing is, Ash, is it's also that so many people hinge their beliefs or their opinions or their view on things based on what somebody else has said or what somebody else believes. And that is not authenticity. It means that, have you ever watched The Runaway Bride?
Yes.
I've always used this analogy in all my classes, is she has all these nearly husbands. Okay. So she gets engaged a couple times, and just at the wedding, she's like, I can't. And each fiance, she would like her eggs how they like the eggs. So if this one liked poached eggs, oh, I love poached eggs. Poached eggs are my favorite. The next one loves boiled eggs. Oh, I love boiled eggs. It's such a stupid example, but it's so true to how we are as humans, is we just want to like what our person likes or what somebody that we really look up to likes or believes, instead of saying, well, what do I like? What do I believe? What do I stand for? What are my values? Do you know how few people I've met actually even know what values are, let alone actually know what theirs are? So, like I asked a guy once when we were just in the talking stages, like, what are your values? And he was like, oh, like, be a good person and like look after your body. And I was like, okay. Should we go back to basics? Do I need to explain what values are?
I think actually we might have to. At some stage, we might actually have to, because rather just say it for those who might not understand what they are, than to ask. But I think that's a definite one, and we can actually maybe go through a process between you and I and physically find out what our values are, and then with that process on the podcast, that'll help other women or other people come up with what their values are.
Absolutely. But the bottom line is that you can't stand up for yourself or stand true to who you are and stand true to your convictions if you don't know what they are. And if you don't have set values and set beliefs. And when you're so wavering on what other people say or what other people's expectations are, you will never fully feel yourself, because you're always hinged on somebody else or other people's viewpoints or opinions. Like, I'm at a space in my life where I'm happy for you to believe what you want to believe, have your eggs however you want your eggs, do your thing however you do your thing, but don't tell me what I need to believe or like or enjoy, because I know what I like, I know what I enjoy, and I'm unwavering in my own beliefs and values. And I can coexist with someone or with people that have different opinions or beliefs or values, but I won't change mine to fit into that space.
And you won't judge them for theirs.
No, I won't, because they are fully entitled to be authentic in their fullest version of themselves, and to like and believe and have convictions in their space that are none of my business. That is how they feel truest to themselves and in their best space. And it would be wrong of me to expect them to understand my point of view. We also haven't lived through the same storms. Exactly. So I never judge people for what they believe or what they stand for. But don't interfere with me.
I actually love listening to the way other people see life and understand life, because I like to understand why they see it the way that they do. My whole thing is,
Yeah.
yes, but why? They'll say, oh, I like drinking water out of a glass jar. Okay, but why? Why do you enjoy that? Help me understand where you're coming from. It doesn't mean that I'm going to adopt that. And if it works better than drinking it out of a plastic cup, I'm going to say, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Let me try. But
Exactly.
I find it fascinating finding out why people believe what they do and why they do things the way that they do. Yeah,
No, it is. And I think it also speaks of their story and their journey.
absolutely.
Is yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to the self-care and finding out. So I did a very interesting little experiment in preparation for this series, and it was disheartening, scary, and I am now convinced that any form of Google or AI is male because it didn't have a flipping clue. When you say, right, guys, let's find some out the box, let's think of some very different ways that a person could actually engage in self-care. One of the things was get in your car. Now, I did stipulate that this was for single moms. Let's just put
Yeah.
that point out there. Get in your car and drive around until you feel better. Go in your car and park somewhere under a tree and eat takeout. And firstly, I said, do you know where we are? I said, you tell me what woman has A, the time to drive around, and B, with the fuel price doing whatever it's doing.
Exactly.
Yes, I may as well buy a manor in Switzerland and go there. That's kind of the situation that we're in. I was horrified. And then of course it went to the whole thing about, oh, go and take a luxury bubble bath and light candles. I thought, well, we have no power, so candles are essential, so I'm not wasting them on a bubble bath. And who has the time to take a bubble bath? I needed out the box. I wanted ideas that kind of just gave everybody the opportunity to not feel guilty that they're not investing in themselves, but to also come up with very practical ideas that they can do around the house. So, for example, the things that I have found, because to me, this was just my lifestyle. But now that I've
Yes.
actually done the research, I've realized this is self-care. So I get up
Yeah.
in the morning and I put on the workout kit, I drop the boys at school and I get on the treadmill. So that to me, that 40 minutes of walking on the treadmill and listening to YouTube or whatever it is, that to me is self-care, because those YouTube channels, I can pick anything that I want to be able to
Yeah.
feed my soul, whether it be a biblical sermon or a sewing tutorial or house renovation or just something frivolous about let's romanticize the change of the season. It doesn't matter. What I need at that time, I can watch that YouTube channel. And then in the evening, I will sit with learning how to crochet a new stitch or knit something or draw or journal or anything along those lines. So even if the boys are around, I'm still okay. I can actually get
Yes.
them to sit and journal or whatever. And now with autumn coming, to go and sit outside, I got an idea. I can get the boys to weed the garden.
I have an airplane passing by now. Apologies.
Doesn't that mean you can have a drink now? You can
Yes.
invest.
Having an Irish whiskey. I mean, an Irish coffee.
Yeah, so it's just, there's so many lovely other ideas. If gardening is your thing, then go and do a YouTube video on setting up a windowsill herb garden in your kitchen. It's
Yeah.
just, it doesn't have to be the traditional disappear for half an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, the one said, get up 20 minutes earlier. I thought, what self-respecting single mother is going to get up an extra 20 minutes? I mean, come on. And I told it that it was being stupid. And one of the comments was, ouch, okay, that struck a nerve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And I think
absolutely.
the other thing that we need to do as women is get rid of the guilt. This morning we had this time set to record these podcasts, and life as you said, threw a curveball and my sister phoned. So I'm sitting here. I haven't had time to fully get ready the way I wanted to present myself, but this
Yes.
is real life. So
Mm.
I'm okay with that. I really am. And I'm not feeling guilty about it. And I am still here and I'm still present. And I'm okay with that. There is no guilt. Yeah. So, even if we don't have time, we can only fit in that 5 minutes of our load shedding candlelit shower. Sing in the shower, make it yours. So, whatever situation
Yeah.
you're in, make it yours. When you're driving home from dropping the kiddies off at school, turn the music up to your favorite 80s, 60s. I mean, my son is listening to stuff from the 1940s. So, whatever floats your boat, turn that music up and enjoy. Just do something for you. It doesn't matter what it is, just do something for you. That was long. I apologize.
No, no, no. It's lovely. I think, yeah, I would just reiterate that self-care and self-love is very much about finding what you enjoy and working on that. So I love that you brought up, the crocheting tutorials, because that's something that you learn a new skill and you spend some time like developing yourself. And for me, I'm such a huge advocate for self-development and waking up every day with the goal and the vision of becoming a better version of yourself that day and every day going forward. So I love the concept of finding something new to try or to learn, and investing in yourself. And I think that's, for me, is what self-love and self-care is all about. It's that investment in time, investment in learning new skills, investment in looking after your body and your mind, all those kinds of things. Like even just waking up, like you say, and grabbing, whether you use your phone or go through the Bible, read like a verse, to just say, okay, let me just get some direction today. Like I love to every now and again just when you take a book and you just do this,
Yes. Yes.
like run your fingers through the pages, and then I'm like, okay, and I'll be like, okay, Lord, show me today what I need to know from your word, and I'll run my fingers through the pages and then just let it open, and I'll like whatever my eyes drawn to first, I'm like, okay, that is what I need to focus on for the day. That's my message for today. And sometimes for me, that's like, okay, that's my little pat on the back. That's like my mom's little have a lovely day vibe, except it's out the Bible, obviously. But yeah, I think that for me is the best form of self-care and self-love, is that personal investment in self.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think I've lost my train of thought here. Yes, definitely the learning something new. I know that when I was going through the separation and then ultimately the divorce, I taught myself how to use InDesign, Adobe InDesign.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, those little things. And then I also taught myself how to start doing composites in Photoshop for my photography. And that was unbelievable, because I was able to create an image of myself that told my story. So there's butterflies are very pertinent in our family. I did have a little girl that I lost at birth. So I've always got 3 children, and one of them is a butterfly. Okay, so that's basically how it all works. And I did this image where I was being pulled out of murkiness by these 3 butterflies. So that was the composite. And so it was like my version of drawing or painting my emotion. So it was very cathartic and healing to say, actually, within the situation, my children are saving me. So it was learning that and then putting it into use to get me through this icky situation. And InDesign, learning that, I this InDesign, it was like we were having issues in our marriage, and somebody said to me, oh, there's a job going, so send in your CV. So me being me, I said, okay, fine. I've just learned InDesign, so I created a pink CV. Everything on it was pink, and I sent this in, and I got the job. you know.
Oh, wow.
I did, but it was just, I had such a giggle to myself that here I was learning this new skill, putting into practice, adding my spice of life because everything, like I say, was pink. It had these pink circles and lines and things on it.
Yeah.
Worked. I got the interview and then eventually got the job. But it was just unbelievable how I learned a skill that then led to something better and
Yes.
opened a door. So yes,
Absolutely.
this self-care and, as you say, self-investment,
Mm.
you never know where it's going to lead. You don't know. So don't be scared to try. And if you have older children, drag them in. You know, I'm often saying to the boys, please go and research this for me, or do this for me, or find out how to do this, and
Yeah,
then teach me. And now I'm spending time with them too.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I do enjoy
No.
that learning something new, creating, and then okay, here's a quick one for you. Makeup and that kind of beauty self-care. You know, how
Mm.
your routine, is it like a, because I do know another friend of mine, she actually like takes that time and feels the brush as a, you know, you put on your powder and you, it's almost ritualistic for her, and that
Yes.
is her version of self-care because she says she just loves to pamper herself.
Yes.
Do you do that with regards to your makeup? So even
Yeah.
the makeup
No,
routine is
definitely.
a version of self-care.
I mean, okay, my makeup routine is like, because I've done makeup for so many years, I do my makeup like in two ticks. Like my makeup's done in like 5-10 minutes. My whole face is done. But having said that, I do enjoy that time with myself and the, yeah, you touching your face and you emphasizing your features and you're really paying attention to yourself, you know. And I think for me, and I think this is what so many people fail to realize, is that we all have love languages, right?
Mm.
And how we can best connect with ourselves is showing ourselves elements of those love languages as well. So, like where physical touch is a love language of yours, touching your body, touching your face, that is a form of self-love as well, because you're physically touching yourself,
Mm.
you know. Same as like I love to do full body exfoliation and I cream my body all the time. And that's, again, for me, I see that as not just, okay, I need to moisturize my body, but I'll be like, this is, I enjoy this.
Mm.
This makes me feel good about myself and it feels nice and I feel whole, you
Mm.
know. It's a love language that you speak back to yourself.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
absolutely. No, but this is it. And again, maybe that is another episode that we do where we do dive into those love languages. Because
Yes.
also I know that if, when it comes to raising children, when it comes to relationships,
Mm,
you need to
mm,
understand the other person's love language in order to, especially
absolutely.
with children, discipline. You know, I know
Yeah.
my two boys respond to discipline very, very differently. And what I can do for
Differently.
one, I
Yes.
cannot do for the other. Like
Absolutely.
if I took away when he was younger, if I took away Vaughn's devices, that was a good punishment for him because it hit him. Dylan was, oh
Yes.
well, I don't care. I'll just come and sit and watch TV with mom. And we'll watch the Gilmore Girls for the 800th time. It's not a problem. But it didn't affect him at all. So I had to come up
Yeah.
with another way of disciplining him. And I do believe that when it comes to talking to a child, talking to a partner, talking to a family member, or anybody that you
Yeah.
do have quite a close relationship with, understanding their love language definitely
Yes.
has advantages in being able to communicate effectively with them, or being
100.
able to kind of meet them where they're at. I do know that an ex of mine, and now you can understand why it's an ex. It was, oh, that suddenly popped up. Sorry about that. It was this ex of mine. We definitely had a very different love language, and I tried to understand his, but then I also thought, no, 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 no. This is a two-way street. Why must I do all the work? So, as
No,
I say, you
absolutely.
understand why it's now an X, but it is, you know, so maybe that's another episode idea. So, guys, let us know if this is stuff that you do want to hear. Please just email us, Let us know in the comments, send us a message. If you do want to go deeper into finding out values, learning about love languages and how to maybe notice it in another person, let us know, and we'll definitely do that for you, because we're here for you, doing this for you and for ourselves, but mainly for you. Okay. Anything else, Courts, on the introduction to self-care?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun series. I think between the two of us, I think we've got lots of tips and tricks and experience in this area of life, for lack of a better expression.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm very excited. I hope that people will engage and let us know what they would like us to touch on, so that we can obviously give you guys what you're looking for. And yeah, but I think I'm excited to share and chat more. I always love our chats.
Oh,
so
yes.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. I think it's going to be amazing.
Me too. All right, guys. So yes, next week we are doing softness as a rebellion. So we're going against the grain of, hustle and be hard and be the go-getter and all that sort of stuff. And we're actually returning to softness and that cozy, cushy comfort. I think mainly a lot of people comment, especially, you see, these are the YouTube videos that I watch, but autumn is the most glorious time for self-reflection and just getting cozy, getting comfortable, getting cushy, getting fluffy. So yes, that's what we're going to be doing next week. We're going to be doing softness as a rebellion, so fighting the grain. So bring out that rebel vibe, ladies, gents, and we'll see you next week.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. And I'll see you next week, Miss Courtney.
See you next week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for spending this time with us. Follow, subscribe, and share Luxe Lens with the woman who needs it. We're rising together. We'll see you next week. Bye.